Previously on the channel, get a BMW with a broken turbo, we give the turbo a little finger, and we crack some nuts. Yeah. In the last video we removed the turbo, and as you can see it here, we're just going through a few procedures just to make sure the turbo, just to really check the condition of the turbo. As you can see, the propeller's kind of moving a bit funny there. That's not how it's supposed to be. So we're just inspecting the turbo housing itself, just doing a visual check, making sure nothing's broken or cracked. So the first thing to do is to remove the actuator. It's got this split pin here. It's got a couple of 10 mils on the side here, nice and easy to remove. We'll come back to that later. Carefully remove it. Try not to break this or force this in any sort of way. And we're going to remove the oil feed pipes and the drain pipes. The drain pipe is this one. It's just an open metal solid pipe. It just leaks back into the sump itself, but that's got a gasket on it usually. And this is the feed pipe, which is usually a hydraulic banjo style pipe. Once it's removed, remember to take the gasket and the copper washers on either side of the banjos. With my 10mm socket, I'm just going to be separating the hot side from the cold side. They come in the housing, and because it goes through so much hot and cold cooling cycles, the nuts tend to seize up on the hot side of the turbo. So this way you might need a little bit of convincing with a club hammer. But once you've cracked them, you just have to undo them. It's really easy stuff. Use some of your favorite penetrating oil because it's more than likely going to be seized together. Try and hit it nicely. You don't really want to hit it with a metal hammer because you don't want to crack the cast turbo. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but good practice is to hit it with something a little bit softer, like a rubber mallet or even a wooden mallet. So in this case it wasn't coming off, so I chose to use a different option. What I'm using here is the nut on the cold side, on the hot side, to press against that locking stud there. So what that will do is that will push the hot side away and unseize it, if that makes sense, as you can see here. So I've only left 2 nuts in on opposite sides. So as I'm extracting it, you'll hear it crack, and that'll be it breaking away from the hot side of the housing. Like I said, the hot and cold cycles cause these things to expand and contract, which ultimately ends them up seizing. So you're going to have to use something a bit creative to get them off. So I found this the easiest way. Remember, there are no other bolts on this side of the housing, just these 2 which I'm undoing and forcing out. You'll see it come out in a minute. There you go. Take your time. Beautiful. And look, there it comes. And you can see that's the hot side of the housing, so all of the carbon almost like welds it shut. So yeah, we just got to do what we've got to do and make sure it's all sensible. Now when you're doing this, you're still assessing the condition of the housing itself, because you have 2 options with a turbo. You can either renew the whole turbo or you can renew the internals of the turbo. Generally, when the condition is good enough, I tend to renew just the internals. And it's a big saving, and you pretty much keep the best part of your car, the original part of your car. And look, that's the actual core itself which I've separated, and that's where the damage is done. So you can see those things shaking to the side there. They're the VNT, they're the veins of the turbo, which makes it operate different at high speed and low speed. It's almost like a pressure lever. It gives you boost at the right times. But I'm doing the good stuff here, just putting penetrating oil on absolutely everything around here. Now you don't have to take this off like I'm doing it, but I'm just doing it for inspection purposes, just to look around. This actual part of the unit is going to be totally it's going to be thrown away, I should say. But I'm just inspecting it, just having a look at what's going on here. Be careful with everything, because you really want to get an idea of what caused the problem and what's the actual fault in the turbo itself. Fortunately, this one wasn't leaking oil, but one of the veins on the hot side has been hit, and it's clearly made it unbalanced. I haven't been able to get a good shot here, but on one of those veins, on a few of those veins, something's hit it and it's made it unbalanced, and it's not going to be good for very long. So yeah, just a quick inspection, just so I know what went wrong with the vehicle, so you can avoid it next time. Sometimes people replace turbos, have the same problem, and the turbo will blow again. So what we need to keep from here is the actual variable veins on the side there, and we need to clean up this cold side of the housing as well. Once again, while I'm cleaning this, I'm just inspecting everything that's on it, making sure I don't go into repairing it and having the same problems as before. Inspect, inspect, inspect. Now it's time to remove the variable veins, the VNTs. So with the penetrating oil, I'm just giving it a bit of heat. I'm trying to hope for capillary action where it seeps into the actual rust itself. But this was quite easy. This wasn't too bad. Just be gentle on these veins because you don't want to break them. It's not something you want to buy. Just ease it off.
Ooh,
lovely.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And you can see it's all crudded up.
Look at that.
Clean, inspect, clean, inspect, clean, inspect, because you don't want to be doing this job twice. So I'm just going to go with cleaning it. And I've decided to use non-toxic white spirit. I just thought I'd try it because I had it lying around. It was okay. It wasn't really the best thing, but it was okay. You can see I'm just cleaning it, going through the procedures. All simple stuff. See what I'm doing. Look at that. It's looking lovely. After going through that procedure, I thought I could clean it up a little bit better. Making a mess here. Blowing out all of the veins. It's the cold side. Getting all the nooks and crannies. Just clean, clean, clean. That's all you have to do. That's the whole idea. And this is my favourite part really. I use a bit of oven cleaner on this to really eat the carbon that's anywhere around this turbo. Anything that's there, this is going to attack. And the way it foams, it gets in all of the nooks and crannies. Nothing's going to last. Oven cleaner is amazing stuff for these sort of applications. Now it's there, I just add a bit of agitation. My little, just £2 paintbrush. Getting all the nooks and crannies. Look, give it a little wash off. Much better. Much cleaner. Lovely. Cleaning's a big thing for me. I always like to keep my things clean. It's just a practice of mine. You know you've done the job properly. You ain't missed nothing then. Just blowing out all of the areas that might hold a bit of oven cleaner, corrosive oven cleaner. Going on to cleaning the actuator. Try not to get it too wet. I don't want it to be drowning in water because it's actually an electrical component. But we've used a bit of degreaser here just to clean off the parts. Once again, it's clean, clean, clean. So you're working in a nice, good, clean environment. All my bits and pieces together there now. And here you see me unpacking the new core which we're going to be fitting. Yeah, one more thing. When you're buying your turbo, these numbers here is what you're looking for to give you the actual right number for your particular vehicle. So that's what you're looking for if you've got an original turbo. So now with your new turbo core, it's time to inspect that it's all good and as is and similar to your original one. So here you can see this one's perfect, and it's a high quality melee one which is made in the UK and has got a superior quality to some of the ones you might get on the internet. You can check out my website on www.bmacbags.com. There I sell steering wheel covers, car parts, accessories for various cars. Also sell security and tracking items and just anything you might have seen in the video that you might be interested in. So yeah, make sure to check it out. Okay, so back to repairing this turbo, and we're going to just be doing more cleaning. So this is the hydraulic feed pipe. Now they do recommend to replace these, but I'm more of a, if it's not broken, why fix it? So this looks in very good condition. There doesn't look to be no signs of damage or oil leakages anywhere. So for me, I thought it was in a reusable state. So it's very simple stuff. Just clean, degrease, clean, degrease. If you can, blow it out with an air compressor, spray brake cleaner down it. Just try and do as much as you can to clean the internals of it and make sure it's got a good feed supply. You don't want no hindrances there because it will starve your turbo, and your turbo will just be damaged before it starts. Same thing with the feed pipe. These don't usually get blocked up, to be honest, but you know, cleanliness is next to godliness and all the rest of it. So just make sure you clean as much things as possible. Make sure the mounting surfaces are clean. Here I'm just using the wire wheel brush just to clean any kind of gunk or carbon that might be stuck in this housing, and that particular brush fits in perfectly, and look how clean that is. We're going to have a good mating surface when it comes to putting the car back together. So here I'm just putting in the VNT veins, sizing them up, sitting in there, making sure everything's moving freely as it should. You don't want this sticking up, but this all starts from good cleaning. Here you can see I've got the notch, that's the key locator that's going to have to sit in, and then there's this little steel gasket which must just expand. Here's that lever which has to find its locating side on the VNT valves, on the VNT levers, and be very careful here because you don't want to touch the veins if you don't have to. So get that key inside of the key of the VNT veins. Be careful. You got to do this like a bank thief. You got to really be delicate and take your time. Make sure everything is moving because we don't want no issues here. Everything's all locked and clocked into place, and we're slowly going to start to seal it up. Put on the brackets, put on the screws. I cleaned the screws off screen. I cleaned everything off screen because this is a very delicate process. Systematically just go around and tighten up. I don't remember the Torx settings on these, but just tighten them up. Should be alright. Still checking after tightening up that everything's still moving freely because we're going to need it to function properly. Replacing the rubber seals. Just throwing a bit of oil on the rubber seal to give it a little, to make sure it seals in nicely really. We don't want it to go in brittle. There you go. Making sure not to pinch it. That brand new core looks brilliant. And that is a really good quality core. It's best to spend a bit more money here because there's nothing more expensive than doing a job twice. On with the cold side of the housing, and once again you want to slide that on like you're breaking into a safe. And then yep, you see it locks there, and that's exactly where it stays. Look at that. Make sure nothing's touching. It will be close, but it should not touch. Start to screw in the cold side screws, one by one. Making sure nothing's cross-threading. That's why you always do it with your hand first. You hand tighten.
Very, very close.
As you're tightening up, still check to make sure that the turbo is moving freely as you're tightening up, but it's not touching or binding anything. There you go. Oh, look at that. That looks amazing. No more wobbling. Can you see? That's perfectly fixed in the center. That's not touching anything. It's very close, granted, but it's not wobbling like the old one was doing. Once again, it's just about clean, 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 clean. These units are very delicate when they first start up, so you don't want to be working in mess. So we're reinstalling the actuator. Bit fiddly and tricky. And I know I've gone on about cleaning, but you can imagine how much different this would have been if I was in dirt and oil and grime. It just makes the job more difficult. You're able to miss more things. It's just sloppy work in general. But the actuator is back on. Give it a little buzz up with my Sealy Impact. I love that tool. Here's the split pin just to hold it on. Oh, slipped it off. Once you got that on, you're pretty much good to go. Last little bit of inspection all round. Cool. Making sure we're good. And here's the gaskets that the drain pipe comes with. I think it's sided. I don't remember what side it goes, but I'm sure you'll work it out. It should fit perfectly. And we're just going to screw them in one by one. Little buzz up. Beautiful. Nice. So now we're onto the feed pipe, and the banjos will come with 2 copper washers. It's best to replace them because they're crush washers. Once they're crushed, they're slightly deformed, so it's good to use new crush washers. Once again, I don't know the torque settings of this. I don't remember, but I did look online. I think it might be 15 Newton, but don't quote me. Don't quote me. Go and look for it yourself. So now this is a very important part of reinstalling the turbo, and that's making sure that it has oil in it. So what I did is I filled up the feed line and then rotated the actual vanes by hand to make sure the oil was getting in and around the bearings. Missing this step will prove fatal to the turbo, and it will just fail before you start, costing you lots of money and time. Coming up next, we tighten our nuts, we get humbled, and we see if this car is really going to start.